Previously, I talked about dividends and told you about some important dates, but in this tutorial, I'm going to go a bit ahead and will tell you about two really important financial ratios related to dividends. And it's not going to be a long tutorial, there are only just two ratios that I'm going to talk about, so it's going to be a pretty short tutorial. So the first ratio is dividend yield. Actually, just read what is on the screen because that will make things easier. So dividend yield is nothing but, you can say in simple terms, a percentage return on the share price. So for example, a company's share price is at $100 and the dividend yield right now is 1%. That means the dividend is $1. Actually, you receive dividend amount, then you compare that dividend with the current share price, that is how much money you receive as a dividend compared to the share price. So in a nutshell, the amount of dividend you receive as a percentage of share price is dividend yield. And the formula for this ratio is dividend per share divided by current share price multiplied by 100, and that would equal to dividend yield. So in order to make things a bit easier, now let me give you an example using the formula so that there remains no doubt. So suppose Google declared a dividend of $10 when the share price of Google was $500. So in that case, the dividend yield would be $10, that is the dividend, divided by $500, that is the share price, and the result multiplied by 100, which would give a result of 2%. And that is what a dividend yield is. So the next ratio is dividend coverage ratio. So this ratio basically judges earnings of a company and compares that with the dividend that the company is paying. So it checks the ability or capacity, that how much a company is in a position to pay the dividends to their shareholders, that whether the company is in a position to pay their dividends or not. Like, are the profits sufficient enough to cover the dividends? Because some companies earn a little and they are not in a position to pay dividends to their shareholders. And this ratio simply indicates that. And the formula is earnings or profit per share, and you can calculate earnings per share by dividing the profits of a company by number of shares outstanding, and that would equal to EPS. So EPS divided by DPS, or simply the dividend you receive, and that is basically dividend coverage ratio. Now let me give you an example of this ratio also. So suppose Apple has annual earnings per share of $10 and declares a dividend of $2 for the whole year. Now here I am talking about annual, so I will take both annual EPS and total dividend received for the whole year. That means it includes all the dividends of all the 4 quarters. So DCR, or dividend coverage ratio, would be EPS divided by DPS, that is $10 divided by 2, which gives a dividend coverage ratio of 5. So this indicates that Apple has the capacity to pay dividends 5 times the profits that they have earned. And a ratio of 10 to 15 is considered pretty good, and less than 2 is risky. But dividend coverage ratio being too high is also not good, as too high a ratio means that the company is earning money but not paying much out of what they have earned. So too high or too low, nothing is good. And these were really important ratios which I thought of telling you. And if you haven't got any of it, then please ask me in the discussion forum and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.